Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live with our weekly roundup of organ live stream action for the week of September 15th to September 22nd. And there you see in our usual red box, we always use red if you're ever looking, trying to find among the zillions of videos that we have put up. If you're ever looking for those that are about organ live stream action, we always frame them in red so you can easily find them. And we always frame the big stage productions in blue. And we always frame the chamber music and avant-garde music and that everything on a smaller stage in violet, which is sort of red and blue mixed together. So that's what we have for you. Folks, we have a great lineup of organ live stream action this week, from Toronto to Paris to Moscow to Siberia. We've got recitals, we've got concerts accompanied by strings or by oboes or by marimbas or by song. So I will be happy to get to it and take you through all of them. In total, we have 8 live stream recitals and or concerts for you this week. Sorry if we're starting a little late too, but we had it took us extra time. It often takes us extra time to get all of our platforms online, and we live stream. We're live streaming now live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and X. And sometimes it takes extra time to get one or the other of them online with everybody else. So before I go any further, let me remind you, as I always do, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn. And we will continue to make sure that you get more than 1,000 live links to live performances online in this year. And that includes 5 to 10 organ live streams per week on average. Fix that. Don't mind me, folks. This is just live, which means, of course, that there are imperfections. That's one of the beautiful things about live. So now let's get to the first of the live streams, because it's today. It's we're live streaming today at about 3 o'clock and a little after 3 o'clock in the afternoon instead of our usual time of 6 o'clock in the afternoon European time, because I have a plane to catch tomorrow to get me to Paris. And so there's lots to do before this day is over. So we need to get started. That photograph there is the Dutch-born organist Jan Noordzij. Tuesday, September 16th, St. James Episcopal, Toronto, live streams John Noordzij, the resident organist of Sint-Walburgiskerk in Antwerp, Belgium, playing music of Louis Vierne, Bach, Paul Benoit, and more. That's coming up at 7 o'clock in the evening European time, which will be, my notes, of course, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page as soon as I need it at the top of the page. That'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time. And right now it's about, 9 in the morning where you are, I think. 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Daylight Time, and 7 o'clock in the evening here in Europe. We give you the specs, a separate link to the organ specs for that organ at the St. James Episcopal in Toronto. I'll tell you, it has 87 ranks, 67 speaking stops, over 4 manuals and 6 divisions, 5,101 pipes. It's a Cassavant Frères organ, rebuilt by them several times between the 30s and the 60s, and rebuilt by L.I. Phelps and Associates in 1976. Noordzij has been a while. He was the organist at the Reformed Grotekerk in the Netherlands, in Alblasserdam, Netherlands. And then starting in 1998, some long time ago, he became the chief organist at the Reformed Church in Noorderloos. Netherlands for 15 years. And since then, he has been with, as I said, the Saint Walburg Church in Antwerp, in Belgium, in the sort of Duchess side, the Flanders side of Belgium. I will give you the link to his website. Interesting guy. He not only is an organist, he also composes. And if you go to his website, you can download a bunch of his compositions for organ. And altogether, I found on his Facebook page, fortunately, the complete list of composers that he'll be playing, including himself, but without more of a program than that. And this cathedral never gives us the specifics of what the program is going to be. Anyway, the full list is Louis Vierne, Johann Sebastian Bach, Paul Benoit, Andre de Jager, Henk Klopp, who he tells us was born in the same hometown as Noordzij. Stella Bott, Puccini, and then Jan Noordzij, Z-I-J himself. I hope that's the way the Dutch pronounce it. Check it out. It's free of charge. Then we move on to the first of 3 live streams being offered you this week by Arte Bene, also going by the name De Boni Arte. And they live stream exclusively from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. And this first concert comes to us from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. It'll be on Wednesday, September 17th. Organist Liliya Yakusheva and the string ensemble Ad Libitum visit the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow for a live stream of classical, jazz, and tango, including music by Widor, Debussy, Shostakovich, Sting, and more. This is really you could legitimately call it. This is a chamber music concert with organ because it's a chamber quintet ad libitum. That's 2 violins, a viola, a cello, and a double bass. I looked all over to try to look up ad libitum. There's an Israeli ad libitum in Haifa, but I don't think that's this group. I don't know that Israelis spend a lot of time in Moscow these days, but who knows? It could be them. Anyway, as for Liliya Yakusheva herself, she's got a page on the Mariinsky Theater website. She's comes originally from Kursk, where she first studied, then went to the Moscow Conservatory, as one is wont to do in Russia. Plays both the organ and the harpsichord. Mariinsky tells us that she performs all over the country, not just the big cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, but Tours, Tula, Yessentuki, Kazan, Smolensk, Kirov, Chelyabinsk, etc., etc. She played a concert. I ran across a concert she played in Donetsk, in Ukraine, eastern Ukraine, back in 2019, before the war unfortunately broke out. I can tell you some of what they'll be playing. It's just like a long list of playing a lot of different pieces. They're playing Siciliana by Charles Marie Widor, called from the cycle In Memory of Bach. They'll be playing the spring segment from Vivaldi's Four Seasons. There'll be the leader of this group, this quintet, seems to be the violinist Irina Evdokimova, because many of these pieces that are arranged for the quintet and organ, she's marked as the arranger. So that includes the Clair de Lune by Debussy, arranged for string quartet and organ. It includes Brahms's Hungarian Dance No. 6. It includes an Ave Maria that we're told is erroneously attributed to Caccini and should be attributed to Vladimir Vavilov. Okay, if you say so. Anyway, and then the list goes on. A tango by Gada, a tango by Shostakovich, tangos by Sidney Bechet, Henry Mancini's Moon River, Moon River, wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. That's that. So, and Sting, Fragile by Sting, and more and more. It keeps going on. I can't keep listening to them. We'll be here all day long just talking about this long list. Anyway, if you love chamber music and organ, this will be a lovely concert for you to enjoy. And the next concert we have for you, I want to mention for you, just so you know, a lot of the regulars, they're not back yet. Some of these regulars that we have, like Temple Church in London, and who else? The Glasgow University Chapel, the Oxford Queen's College Chapel, Truro Cathedral is not on this week. Methuen Memorial Concert Hall is not on this week. Ely Cathedral is not. These are all regulars every week, and they're not on this week, but we make up for it with all these concerts coming out of Russia, I guess. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. There's the picture, a partial picture of the players. Friday, September 19th, resident organist Marina Omelchenko at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow invites harp, violin, marimba, and a soprano for an evening of the Habanera from Bizet's Carmen, the Swan by Saint-Saëns, and some of the seasons of Vivaldi, Piazzolla tangos, and more. So another sort of, chamber music-ish evening. In the photo there, you see at the organ, Marina Omelchenko. She's one of the resident organists there at the Catholic Cathedral, always does a good job. And these concerts always include, for those of you who are pure organ purists, they always include some pieces uniquely for the organ, so that you get to hear some organ music. So that's Marina Omelchenko at the organ, and then that smiling face of the blonde-haired woman, that's Anna Skurovskaya. She's on the harp. She has played the harp in concerts at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow with the organ before. And then the guy with the marimba, playing the marimba with these things in his hands, that's Yelisei Drigalin. And he's not only a marimba player, but he's a sort of a very contemporary percussionist kind of guy. So there's also William Kalo on the violin and mezzo-soprano Yulia Makarians, but I was not able to come up with photos for all of them. So they'll be doing the seasons Autumn and Summer by Vivaldi, Bach's Concerto in A minor, BWV 1041, Albinoni's Andante. I already mentioned the Bizet and the Saint-Saëns, Two Sacred Dances by Debussy, Carl Jenkins's Palladio, that marvelous British composer, the one who composed the Mass for the Armed Man, the Mass for Peace. Oh my gosh! And then by Piazzolla, they'll do his Ave Maria. That's the one that goes Ave Maria, amoris tui sitiensum. Ave. It's just lovely. I've sung that in recitals. People get all choked up. I first heard it played on the oboe, actually, St. Mary's Church in Paris a decade ago. Anyway, then they'll do Libertango and finish up with Piazzolla's Oblivion. A nice Friday night concert for you. Did I give you the exact times? I don't know if I did. I think I told you it was Friday. It's at 8 o'clock. It's, prime time, 8 o'clock in the evening here in Europe, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, and it's Friday evening, 9 o'clock in the evening in Moscow at the Roman Catholic Cathedral. Now, if that doesn't suit you, there's yet another live stream on Friday evening. A little later, it's the typical 10 o'clock in the evening live stream that you have every Friday. And we're never able to tell you what they're going to play. But it's always a good concert. Friday, September 19th, St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral in San Diego. Live streams as usual. The ever articulate and engaging and expert Canon Martin Green on the organ. That organ has, we give you a link to the organ specs. That has the longest history of any organ in San Diego. It was rebuilt in 1969 as the last Aeolian Skinner organ west of the Mississippi, retaining the best of the pipework from previous instruments, though. And then it was completely rebuilt by Quimby Pipe Organs, Opus 68 in 2012. Yes, it has an Opus number. It has 4 manuals, 98 stops, 86 ranks, 115 draw knobs, which is a lot for that number, and 4,933 pipes. So it's not massive, but it's sizable. You never know what Canon Martin Green's going to play, but it's always an interesting and balanced selection between American composers, maybe South American composers, and European composers, and then from earlier times and more contemporary. And he always gives you great explanations of what to look for in the music he's playing without leaving you in the musicological dust, as I like to say. So that's 10 in the evening, European time. It's a 1 o'clock, it's a lunchtime, 1 in the afternoon live stream in San Diego on the West Coast, and 4 in the afternoon at the end of your Friday afternoon, the end of your work week on the East Coast. You will enjoy it. He gives great explanations. He has a cute kid, boy. Looks like he's 10 years old. I don't know if it's his son or what, who turns the pages for him sometimes. So it's very familial. Okay, we move on then to another Roman Catholic Cathedral live stream, the third of this week. All of them quite interesting and more than just organ. And this one, it will be organ and oboe, which we've heard before at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow, but not with this pair. And this is a high-powered pair. I'll tell you about it in a second. Saturday, September 20th, Art Vannay live streams organist Daniel Zaretsky, former Russian Organist of the Year, and top oboist Philippe Nodel from the Moscow Conservatory, playing Bach, Böhm, and J.K. Petz. It's called Pearls of the Baroque. And that's at 7 o'clock in the evening European time, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, 10 in the morning on the West Coast. In Moscow, it'll be at 8 o'clock in the evening. Daniel Zaretsky, I don't know when he was named Organist of the Year, but he's been around a long time. He's been playing recitals since 1986, so that's for 40 years. I'm guessing he started very young because he doesn't look that ancient. For some years, he was the concert organist with the St. Petersburg Philharmonic. Yeah, this pair, they're from St. Petersburg. Well, no, they're not. He's from St. Petersburg. He's a big cheese in St. Petersburg. Starting in 2006, he was a professor at St. Petersburg State University, teaching organ. And since 2011, he's been the head of the organ faculty at the St. Petersburg Conservatory, the Rimsky-Korsakov Conservatoire. Philip Nodal on the oboe, he teaches at Moscow State, the Tchaikovsky Conservatory, and also he is one of the founders of a Russian website for oboe players, and there are more than 900 oboe players all over Russia who apparently are connected to it. And he also, back 20 years ago already, he was a founding member of the first Russian early instruments orchestra called Pratum Integrum. And since then, with that group, he's recorded around 20 different CDs of early music. So what are they going to be playing? Well, they'll be playing Bach's Fantasia in G major. This will just be organ. Like I tell you guys, these Catholic Cathedral in Moscow concerts, even when the organist is invited in other musicians, they always have solos for the organ. So there'll be there'll be a Fantasia in G major, BWV 572, and then 3 choral fantasies, Am Wasserflüssen Babylon, BWV 653, Nun kommt der Heiden Heiland, BWV 659. You can tell I love pronouncing German. And Komm Heiliger Geist, BWV 651. All right, then there'll be a sonata in G minor for oboe and organ by Bach, BWV 1030B. Then they're going to do music, 3 pieces by Georg Böhm, another Baroque composer, a prelude and fugue in C major, a choral prelude, Father in the Spirit, and a choral partita, Ach wie nichtig, ach wie flüchtig, a theme and 7 variations. And then they will finish up with the composer I haven't heard of before. I've heard of Böhm, Johann Christoph Petz, another Baroque composer, the sonata or symphony in G minor for oboe and organ. That's a very sophisticated Baroque concert. If you're a Baroque lover, yeah, I think you'll love this concert. It's 2 top guys playing very sophisticated Baroque program. So we then moving right along. That's it for the folks in Moscow this week. The next live stream we have for you is one of our favorites. Often appears here. He's one of the resident organists, the 2 resident organists at St. Eustache Church. Sunday, September 21st, St. Eustache Church in the heart of Paris. Live streams resident organist and showman Baptiste Florian Marle-Ouvrard, playing classic works by Bach and very playful works by Camille Saint-Saëns. That's at the usual time, 5 in the afternoon, evening in Paris, 11 o'clock on the East Coast, and 8 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast Sunday morning, and 1 a.m. down under in Australia. But it might, if you love the organ, Baptiste Florian Marle-Ouvrard, he really rocks on the organ. And that's a terrific organ. I mean, that organ has 7,952 pipes, 115 stops, and 5 manuals. They have 2 different consoles. Both are 5 manuals. And I can show you I can show you some photographs while we're on the subject of that magnificent organ. It's the equal of the organ at Notre Dame in terms of the number of pipes and stops. There's a slight difference. One of them has a few more pipes, and one of them has a few more stops, something like that. I mean, it's not there. Now you can see the entire array. Why don't I keep going? So there you go. So and if you want to read French, there you can read French about it. And they took that photo on the banks of the Seine. I will be in Paris starting tomorrow, so I may pop in and do an intro to that concert live on site, and then and a recap after the concert. What's he going to be? What's he playing that I said was so classic? Well, he's playing Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, BWV 565, and the choral Wachtet auf, ruft uns die Stimme, BWV 645. That's very classic. But then he's playing Camille Saint-Saëns for the second half of the program. Starts with the Dance Macabre. Oh, I should have started out this whole live stream with playing that, or an extract from it, and then the extracts from the Carnival of Animals, the aquarium, the fossils, the swan, and the finale. So classic, and then let's have some French fun. And he's a really fine organist. I mean, they wouldn't let him be one of the resident organists at Saint Eustache if he wasn't. And they get easily 300 people per week, with their resident organist playing. They don't have to bring in celebrities. No. It's Baptiste Florian or it's Thomas Hospital. They do a great job. Okay, we have 2 more live streams to tell you about briefly. Let me try to finish this up within what has become the half-hour limitation for getting things done. Here's the next guy. There you go. I can take these, remove these. I don't have a production team, folks. I do everything myself. All right. This guy, I first thought this guy, I guess, is he interesting or what? Because I didn't know him. Well, let me tell you about it. Sunday, September 21st, Ireland's Cathedral, the St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin, live streams its longtime and expert chief organist and choir director, David Leigh. That'll be at 8:30 in the evening, European time, 2:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11:30 in the morning on the West Coast. David Leigh has been the organist and assistant master of music at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Dublin, the national cathedral of the Church of Ireland, since 1997. He also has a freelance career. He's a conductor, keyboard player, concert organist, leads choirs, plays with the RTE Concert Orchestra, the National Symphony Orchestra, the Ulster Orchestra, as a soloist, and sometimes as a conductor. He's the artistic director of a festival called the Pipeworks Festival. And they have a big festival in June of each year, I gather. You can look that up online. In the past year, he played the solo part in Thierry Escache's first organ concerto with the National Symphony Orchestra of Ireland, and then he conducted the RTE Concert Orchestra in a program of Brahms, Bach, and Elgar. Serious guy, does everything. He went to Oxford, St. Peter's College and Magdalen College, etc. The organ was a 1902 Henry Willis organ, rebuilt in 1963 by J. Walker and Sons, and we give you in the link a link to where you can read more about the long history of the organ there, and also within that link you can then click on another link to get the organ specs for that organ. And finally, we have one last concert to tell you about. I got to hurry up to get in under the wire, the timing. This is one more hybrid concert from Russia, but it's from out in Siberia. Monday, September 22nd, the Tomsk Philharmonic's resident organist Dmitry Ushakov plays sonatas by Vitali, Bach, Weber, and Vivaldi with violinist Tatiana Strokova in an exclusively live-streamed recital free of charge. That's at, I give it to you now because we don't do the next organ roundup until next Tuesday, and this is on next Monday, so you'll know about it. Ushakov is the resident organist there, and he's constantly doing these. Typically on Mondays, he does something called Organ Live in Russian, and in which, and there, it's only a digital concert. There's no audience. So it's a live stream concert. And there's usually ideational content too, and he's making points about it and talking in between the pieces they play in Russian. Although when I tuned in on Monday, he was saying hello to everybody in English, which I thought was really cool. And a bunch of people that I regularly see in chat boxes on YouTube for very sophisticated concerts and all of that, they were all there watching. People, well, I don't want to start mentioning names because maybe people don't want me mentioning their names. But I see them all the time. So anyway, they'll be playing, by Vitali, they're playing a chaconne. By Bach, they're playing a chaconne for violin in D minor. The transcription for organ by A. Messerer. By Bieber, they'll be playing something called Sonata Representativa. And by Vivaldi, they will play Autumn from the cycle for the seasons. From what I've been able to gather about Tatiana Strokova, I believe her Instagram account is titled Baroque Strokova. So she's very much into this kind. She's a Baroque music specialist. And the idea of this kind of concert is to specifically, it's called Listen to the Violin. And it's to underline, what is the relationship between the violin and the organ as instruments? And he does this kind of thing regularly with different instruments. He'll do it with a trumpet, he'll do it with a harp, with different instruments. So he's a very interesting guy, very erudite in a way. Out there in Siberia, they're not dumb. Anyway, folks, that is all that I have for you this week, but that's plenty, isn't it? That's 8 different live streams, and it took me forever to talk about them all. It took me more than half an hour. I'm sorry. I tried to keep it to a half an hour. But anyway, I hope that any of these live streams uplifts you, inspires you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. I think the one with the marimba will be a really good time. And I don't remember which one that was, but you can always watch this on replay and spool back and find it. And before I leave you, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn. And we'll continue to make sure you get more than 1,000 live links to live performances online this year. No other website, no other channel, no other content creator, or not a content creator, then nobody else can make that claim. If you want to get access to as much performing arts live streaming online as possible, we're it. Nobody else is doing it the way we are doing it. There are different content creators which are pitching their own content, but nobody is just saying, look, here is the universe of live streaming going on. And in our first year, we found more than 1,000 quality performing arts live streams. I was astonished. I knew we'd find many, but not that many. So that's why I know we'll find more than 1,000 this year, because there's more going on this year than last year. And with that, I have to say goodbye. I will be back at 7 o'clock in the evening with the roundup of chamber music concerts, because there's a lot of chamber music going on this week. Everything's cranking back up in the Northern Hemisphere. So ciao for now, and maybe I'll see you then at 7 o'clock if you want to find out about all the chamber music